The village of Saxilby lies low and quiet under the wide Lincolnshire sky. Roads weave through it like threads in an old coat. On one of these, Mill Lane, stands a building that has seen more than its share of history. The Sun Inn is a place of brick and timber, its roof sagging just a little with the weight of centuries. Today is the 11th of November 2025. A damp chill hangs in the air, a familiar feeling for this time of year. The leaves have mostly fallen, leaving the trees bare and skeletal against the grey clouds. It is a day for staying inside, for a warm fire and a quiet drink. The Sun Inn offers just that, as it has for generations, but history tells a different story. Before the darkness fell, there was a simple story of a local man. His name was Tom Otter. He was not a lord or a man of great wealth. He was a journeyman fellmonger, a tanner of sheepskins, a labourer who worked with his hands. He was born around 1783. By his early 30s, he was a familiar face in and around Saxilby. People knew him as a hard worker who earned his keep through sweat and toil. He was part of the fabric of the village, under the vast Lincolnshire sky. His life was unremarkable, a cycle of seasons and hard labour. Tom Otter was also a man who had been married before. His first wife had died, leaving him a widower. He found himself alone again. He eventually met a young woman named Mary. She was from the nearby village of Kettlethorpe. The wedding night of Tom and Mary Otter was not one of celebration. Instead of a warm home, a shared bed, their journey together began with a long and tense walk. After the ceremony, Tom did not take his new bride to a house in Saxilby. He told her they were walking to his mother's home in a neighbouring village. This was the first sign that something was terribly wrong. The walk was long, stretching along the dark country lanes under the November sky. The joy of a wedding day had evaporated, replaced by a cold and ominous silence between the newly married couple. Their path took them past the Sun Inn. The warm light from its windows would have spilled out onto the dark road, a beacon of cheerfulness in the gloom. At some point during this walk, near a new bridge that crossed the Fosdyke Canal, the tension finally broke. An argument erupted. The bitter words boiled over into violence. The weapon he used was a hedge stake bill, a heavy curved blade on a long handle, made for thorns, turned to murder. The next morning, life in the Sun Inn began as it always did. The innkeeper, or perhaps a serving girl, started cleaning up from the night before. They swept the floors, cleared the glasses, and tended to the fire. It was during this routine tidying that the discovery was made. Tucked away behind the long wooden settle, where it had been hidden from view, lay the hedge stake bill. Dark, sticky stains coated its curved blade and stained the wooden handle, a source of immediate horror. The innkeeper, Mr. Draby, faced a terrifying object. Secured and set on a high shelf, it drew every eye that entered. The discovery of Mary's body confirmed the village's worst fears. The billhook was examined closely, strands of hair and fibers from clothing, a direct link to the victim. Taken into custody, it became crucial evidence against the absent husband, Tom Otter. The story of the murder weapon takes a bizarre and haunting turn after it was taken into evidence. The constable locked the billhook away, thinking it secure. A day or two later, the billhook vanished. No sign of a break-in, no explanation at all. The authorities were baffled. Then it reappeared. At the base of a large, solitary tree, about a mile from Saxilby on the road to Lincoln, it seemed staged, as if returned. Collected and secured again, unease growing. Incredibly, it disappeared a second time. The search began anew, found again, at the very same tree. This time, the bark bore a fresh-looking stain as if struck by the blade. The tree itself seemed to bleed, a gruesome monument. The mark on the trunk became known as Tom Otter's mark. Some blamed Mary's restless spirit, others Tom's guilty compulsion. While the weapon made its mysterious journeys, Tom Otter vanished, becoming a fugitive. The entire county was on alert. Descriptions of him were circulated. A reward was offered. Every stranger drew suspicion. The wedding night murder horrified everyone. The search was extensive. Constables scoured the countryside. Local militias joined the sweep. They checked farms and inns and the homes of his relatives. The longer he remained free, the legend around him grew, a bogeyman in the fields. "Be good or Tom Otter will get you," they would say. Finally, after weeks on the run, he was caught. Found hiding near Market Rasen, exhausted and desperate. He was taken to Lincoln Castle to await trial. The evidence was overwhelming. The sentence for murder in 1806 was swift and absolute. Tom Otter was condemned to death by hanging. His execution was moved from Lincoln Castle to the road near Saxilby. His body was to hang in chains, gibbeting. On the 14th of March, 1806, he was carried along the Lincoln Road. People came from all over. The road was lined for miles. Solemnity, morbid curiosity, grim satisfaction. The gallows rose where Mary had been killed. Tom stood beneath the noose. He was allowed final words and confessed. He showed little emotion. The cart moved. His life ended at the end of a rope. Silence followed. His body was caged and left to hang. For months, perhaps years, it became a horrifying landmark. People came to stare. Some took grisly souvenirs. After the execution and the grisly spectacle of the gibbet, Saxilby tried to return to normal. Work resumed in the fields, and boats kept to their journeys. Life went on. But the murder left an indelible mark. The story was not forgotten. The Sun Inn, no longer just a pub, but the place where the killer hid his weapon. The bridge, no longer just a crossing. These places were imbued with dark significance. The tale passed through generations, not just to frighten, but to teach about anger, violence, and the consequences of evil deeds. The billhook was kept for a time, then lost to history. All that remained were the places and the story. The Sun Inn's walls held the memory. Today, if you walk through Saxilby, the story of Tom Otter is still present, if you know where to look. The Sun Inn still stands, a modern pub that cannot escape its past. They might tell you that on quiet nights you can feel a chill, an echo of the dread when the bloody billhook was found. The inn is a living link, a place for a pint, and for contemplating a murder 2 centuries past. The exact sites of the tree and gibbet are debated, but the idea of a bleeding tree and a weapon that refused to stay hidden add a brush of the supernatural to grim reality. The facts are simple. A man killed his wife and was executed, but the weapon's strange behavior invites the unknown, speculation and wonder. Was it a partner trying to intimidate, a morbid prank, or something truly paranormal? The power lies between true crime and ghost story, where communities forge folklore. The Sun Inn, the tree, the billhook, elements of a lasting local myth.